Coming up on today's wrestling news, we've got scrapped Brock Lesnar Elimination Chamber plans following the WWE lawsuit.
Bayley reveals she almost quit WWE.
AEW's Ricky Starks reveals he doesn't have anyone to talk to in the back.
And how Jordynne Grace's Royal Rumble appearance came together.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
I'm Adam Wilborn, and this is the news.
Yeah, we start with Brock Lesnar and WWE and the lawsuit. The fallout will continue to come as we will expect it to over the weeks and months ahead. But this is very much a on-screen solution to the off-screen problems that are going on. Brock Lesnar, it is reported, was supposed to work with Dominic Mysterio at Elimination Chamber. This was according to the ever-reliable post-wrestling, big fans of Post here at What Culture, who reported that, quote, a source with knowledge of the upcoming creative plans informed Post-Wrestling that Lesnar was set to work with Dominic Mysterio at Elimination Chamber on February 24th in Perth. A second source has confirmed this plan to us. Now, this makes a lot of sense with what we saw at the Royal Rumble, which was Bron Breakker getting eliminated by Dominic Mysterio almost off camera, as if to hide a spot that might have been high profile had Lesnar been in place. News had broke over the weekend that Lesnar was expected to be a Royal Rumble surprise competitor, and then plans were changed, as they often are. But in this case, it certainly felt in response to the news breaking of the lawsuit. WWE and Vince McMahon obviously facing sex trafficking allegations, and the Wall Street Journal were prepared to at least label the WWE superstar in the lawsuit as Lesnar himself. There's been no outward confirmation from WWE or TKO that Lesnar was removed from those reasons, but obviously a lot of people are putting two and two together. And when Breakker came in, he was obviously booked to be the usual dominant figure you would expect a Lesnar to be. So a lot of people are kind of joining the dots on that one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't out of character for Bron Breakker.
No.
He's been wrecking dudes down in NXT for quite some time. But you put it all together, watching the Rumble, especially with the weird, comedy, but not necessarily important Pat McAfee bit of just let's just kind of waste a number here. It did feel, especially with the spot with the JD McDonagh spear after being eliminated, that perhaps that was the role that Breakker was sort of in there to play. And Dom having a match with Brock at Elimination Chamber would have been wild, but understandably, given the circumstances, that's quite right that they've nixed those plans.
Yeah, we don't know yet if Breakker will step into that match at Chamber as well as what he did at the Rumble, or indeed if the Royal Rumble was his formal main roster call-up. He did an interview with Kathy Kelly after the match saying that the main roster was his quote home. Now he is booked for Vengeance Day on Saturday, NXT's next Bayley in the final of the Dusty Cup alongside Baron Corbin.
War Dogs.
The War Dogs.
They're really good if you didn't know about them.
It's not like he hasn't got business to conclude, but increasingly his time in NXT looks short.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like it's time for quite a few people down in NXT to make that step up. Roxanne Perez also appeared in the Women's Royal Rumble, of course.
Yeah.
I'd like to see both of those people and numerous others, Mello, Trick, on the main roster as soon as possible. But yeah, I'm really enjoying War Dogs, him and Baron Corbin, who are together, in case you're unaware, because they're both assholes, as a tag team down in NXT. To try and find some good in all the bad that we've been reporting on recently, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who donated.
Yes.
We covered obviously the Vince McMahon allegations on Friday. All of the donations that came our way for the Royal Rumble stream went to Rain, and we organised a fundraiser saying if you want to donate money to that fantastic charity who do some amazing work, then you can do so. We've hit nearly £2,000.
Yeah, like $1,800 and change dollars at the moment. We should point out that the donate button remains on the link to the video we did on Friday, as well as the follow-up when Vince McMahon resigned in disgrace with Phil and Gareth on the Saturday. They will remain in place, as far as we know, in perpetuity, and you can make donations whenever you want. The charity does see that money, all of it.
And just to reiterate from all of us here at What Culture, please believe survivors.
Absolutely.
Right, let's talk more Royal Rumble fallout, Hamflet. Bayley won the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Very, very, very happy about
Nice
that.
stuff.
More on that as well when we get to the Twitter questions. But in the post-conference presser, she's talked about a variety of different topics, about turning heel, about her future, plans. And she revealed how she almost quit WWE after a month when she first joined, which would have been a great loss for a variety of different reasons. I'll just read what she said here. She was putting over Cody and, more importantly, his dad, Dusty Rhodes, for his involvement in her career. I've said it for years, but Dusty just had his projects in everybody. He saw the one thing in everybody that we couldn't see in ourselves. He helped me in promo class all the time. The fact I now have my own TV show, Ding Dong, hello, just blows my mind. I wish Dusty could see that, because he had to pull me in for extra promo classes and make me do interviews and all this stuff stuff because I was just so shy. But Dusty saw something in me. I was shy to share what he wanted me to embrace, but he knew that was what was going to connect me with the people. That's what saved me. I would have given up in my first month. I wanted to be done. This sort of reflects, obviously, the fact that Bayley wouldn't have quit because she was a bad wrestler. She's always been absolutely sensational. But you kind of have to be that multi-tool player when you come to WWE. Everyone has to do a little bit of everything. And for Bayley, who you sense initially at least was a rather shy personality, who just wanted to, do wrestling.
Yeah.
Was kind of put off by that. But yet again, a case of the brilliance of Dusty Rhodes bringing out, one of the best WWE women's wrestlers ever, in my opinion. Just the longevity, the stuff she's done, I'm so glad.
Yeah, like an all-time criminally squandered babyface that WWE are seeming now to want to try and get some of that from before it's too late, ultimately. This press conference is worth a read, worth a watch, should I say. Bayley always comes across really well in this setting. And obviously there would be, the press conference, as it rightfully should have done, took a serious tone as the night went on. But for Bayley, it was more just questions about her career and how she'd arrived at this point and stuff. And it's interesting that she obviously talked about Dusty Rhodes as such a mentor, but she is not just talking as related to Dusty, she's walking too. She referenced how she was speaking to a lot of the women in this year's Rumble to explain that, I know it sounds like a cliche, but like your time will come. Like she was buzzing to win and at the same time trying to remind a lot of the women that she's been in nearly all of them since 2018.
Yeah.
And not a lot of them have gone that well. She's had an Iron Woman run that came at nothing. She was in the first one entering at something like 25, 26 and only lasted a few minutes, which was underwhelming for her. Like a vital ingredient in WWE's decision in 2015 to invent women's wrestling via Stephanie McMahon's brainwave. I think the sentiment around Bayley, very much in real life, will match how much people loved her character all the way back in 2014-15. That road to WrestleMania could be one of the more earnestly heartfelt ones that we've had in recent years. Whether or not she wins the title, it doesn't look likely that will sort of be like a main event story this year. But yeah, just Bayley's not just getting that moment, but presumably getting it as one of the top babyfaces on the card. Feels like overdue vindication for both the character and the person who's playing it.
Absolutely ecstatic with both Royal Rumble winners.
Yeah.
I get some people may want Punk to win. Some people have said it's predictable that Cody's won or whatever. I haven't really heard any complaints about Bayley winning. I think it was a shock how early Becky went out. I know it was relatively late in the game, but I thought it was going to be like Punk and Cody down to the final two. But yeah, really, really excited for this road to WrestleMania with both of them, especially Bayley, and hopefully, we'll get to what's to come when we get to her Twitter question a little bit later. Indeed,
yeah. Speaking of Bayley and somebody that we've known that she's got a friendship with in real life, Ricky Starks. Of course, we've seen that they've been good, close friends. They've made no secret of that, and Starks has made no secret of relationship with Cody Rhodes. There's a little
the Royal Rumble last year, wasn't
Indeed, everyone can be friends, and that's absolutely fine. But he has admitted that he doesn't have many others to talk to within AEW. He was speaking candidly to the Gabby AF podcast, about who exactly he goes to for the guidance and the advice and the people that, as we hear about young wrestlers, they should always speak to others to get that wisdom. And he said, quite bluntly, I talk to Cody Rhodes, I don't have anybody in the back to talk to. He then did pause and correct himself slightly and said, the other person that I talk to when I can is Brian Danielson, obviously the rival they had this year, but not that often. But I don't really have anyone that I talk to or can go to advice back there. It is what it is. Ricky Starks, of course, one half of the tag team champions with Big Bill.
For now.
That upset of FTR, but they indeed could be under great pressure as they prepare to take on Sting and Darby Allin and the Young Bucks swimming around.
This week, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
As you point out, Starks was backstage with Cody at last year's Royal Rumble, caught on a security camera. Let's not forget the ugliness of that. But it's no problem having friends across the divide, but it's interesting that he was willing to volunteer that there's nobody he speaks to in AEW on that level.
Sorry, I just thought the only time ever the word ugliness has been surrounded by Ricky Starks' name.
Oh yeah, once and never again.
What a handsome man. But it's a shame this. Obviously, great that he has this relationship with people like Cody, and understandable that you'd go to someone like Danielson.
Yeah.
I don't like hearing stuff like this. And I'm not going to make this a WWE or an AEW thing or whatever. No. It's just a real shame because Ricky Starks is a major talent. He's going to be one of the biggest stars in wrestling over the next few years, in my opinion.
It's a team effort, right?
I think this is just another maybe this is me and more hope than expectation. I have no idea what his contract situation is. This is possibly another sign that he could be heading over to WWE whenever his contract expires.
Yeah, the rumours have been there for a while, haven't they? And I think being bold enough to say something like that out loud, and we'll see. All speculation. Obviously, we don't know anything more than what we told you, but we'll see.
Yeah, real shame that though. Mm-hmm. But let's move on and talk about another surprise appearance in the Royal Rumble. TNA Women's Champion Jordynne Grace, of course, popped up. Fantastic to see her in there. Continuing the law of Impact / TNA Women's Champions popping up in the Women's Royal Rumble match. Sean Ross Sapp, though, of Fightful Select has come through with more details on how this all came together. WWE had contacted external companies regarding potential surprise entrants for the Royal Rumble, according to Sapp. And according to the reports, WWE reached out to TNA over the weekend. That's last weekend, so not the weekend just gone, the one before. Yeah. The arrangements were made for Jordynne Grace. She underwent physical and blood work on the Monday, then she flew to Florida on the Thursday for the rehearsals for the Royal Rumble. Always weird to imagine what that must look like. And then I'll hit you, and then you'll fly over the top rope, and we'll try not to tack a Michinoku your face on the floor.
Corey saying to me, like, well, should we practice that to make sure you can actually do that spot? Because you were holding on to nothing.
Yes. Yeah. Some within TNA had heard about this possibility earlier on in the month. Obviously, wider sort of WWE TNA rumours doing the rounds. And sources within WWE mentioned that TNA and Jordynne Grace were cooperative and easy to work with throughout the process. I hope this opens the door for more of this sort of thing. Yeah,
I'm always very suspicious of WWE doing any co-promotion. Yes. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it, aren't you? But it is interesting that it's almost exclusively isolated to Women's Royal Rumble law. This relationship seems to exist in this strange bubble where, of course, Mickie James did it in 2022, and now Jordynne Grace has done it now. And it's not like the rumour wasn't kicking around. And bear in mind that, obviously, Jordynne Grace and Trinity had feuded over the Impact / TNA Knockouts title. So with the rumours spreading for quite a while that Naomi was on her way back, it was like, crap, they're going to get the TNA champion, whoever it is. It was like they'll take the champion, the challenger, the next in line, whatever. There was even rumours, obviously, that Deonna Purrazzo could be making a move to WWE. I think we covered her as a possible Rumble entrant before she was revealed to have signed for AEW. So it is odd that this specific match seems to be the centrepiece of this strange WWE TNA relationship. I'm with you, I think. I don't like the idea. It's different than when AEW work with companies. I'm yet to see too much evidence that it's like a shark and a bunch of minnows. Whereas WWE have shown me enough in the past that maybe all isn't quite what it seems. But isolated to little incidents like this and like cool little matches and cameos and the like, and Jordynne Grace having the kind of night that, like, I don't want to say embarrassed a lot of the WWE women's division, but she kind of like put a lot of that like performance center training type stuff on notice for what she offered that was different. Is probably one of the things that makes WWE careful and coy about this, but it was interesting to watch. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take her away from TNA too soon, but you could easily see her working in WWE, especially off the back of that. And this is how it goes, isn't it? They've got a decent track record recently with amazingly jacked women. Ivy Nile, Jade Cargill, of course, showed up. Yeah, look, she's got great potential. I'd like to see, more of this sort of thing. I know it's... I feel sad now. I've just made myself sad because I remember it's basically the longest time until the next Royal Rumble. Yeah, afraid so. But it's Boxing Day. Get some TNA. If they can get some more TNA stars in there next year. I saw people on our live stream saying, imagine if Moose just randomly shows up, which would be awesome. Yeah. Well, this is Joe Hendry. I'm always going to bang the drum for Joe Hendry. This is what this creates, right? This is what's supposed to be the fun of it, and why, like, the New Japan AEW like rift being healed was so important in the first place. This can be really, really good. Yeah, absolutely. Right, is that Twitter questions now? I've got confused. Yeah, we flipped, sorry. Let's move on to your Twitter questions at What Culture WWE on X. Of course, if you want to send it to us. Start with a Bayley question. Thank you to Jason for sending this for us. Hello, fellas. Hi, Jason. How would you book Bayley choosing to face Io Sky when she initially claimed she wanted to pick Rhea? When will her choice be made, before or after Elimination Chamber? Regular listeners of our SmackDown coverage will already know the answer to this, but I'm prepared to share it. Oh, yes. So, yes, obviously Bayley is talking about the Damage Control plan and how she's going to get Rhea Ripley's belt, and then they've all got belts and everything like that. And she's earnest, and she really wants to do that. She's still fighting for this title as relates to Damage Control. However, they are clearly no longer fighting for her, and that is apparent. The gap has been growing wider and wider and wider, and I think what they're going to do on SmackDown... Didn't even tell her about Asuka and Gary turning up in the Rumble. And then when they didn't help her and just got eliminated, well, thanks a lot, guys. I think there's going to be a nice in-ring moment where, yet again, Damage Control are speaking in Japanese, which is one of the many ways they've started to exclude Bayley from the group. And at that point, she reveals in full Japanese, subtitle if you want, but it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To the shock of Damage Control, she challenges Io Sky in Japanese. We'll understand it because, like, you can understand what people are saying in different languages. She can point at the sign.
Yeah.
The fans will all get what's going on. The shock on the faces of Damage Control, a Bayley to belly to Io, and that's to me how you lay out the challenge. You've made a point of a comparison of like a little bit of Batista where the heels think they're leaned in one way and then he reveals the other. I think this language barrier thing would be a great way to do the reveal.
Yeah, then basically saying in Japanese, you need to have a word with Dave and tell him what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Basically, and yeah, we drew comparisons to the bit in Game of Thrones before she hits the old Dracarys, where they're like, what do you mean you've been understanding our conversation the whole time? Yeah, and
Dakota Kai, we're not sure whose side she's going to be on.
Yeah.
Because she's the one that's felt most guilty about Bayley being pushed to the side. You can play with that a little bit as well.
I'm so excited. Bring back the Bayley buddies for WrestleMania 40.
Yes.
Please. The weirdness of someone putting in a side pony, people being like, oh, you done messed up now. Mark Sally gives us our second question today. He's sent a picture of his dog. Look at that lovely dog. Morning Legend says, Mark, thoughts on Solo Sikoa versus KO at Mania in a cage match? Hasn't been a steel cage match there since Mania 2.
I'm here to have to correct you, Mark. I'll correct you on 2 points. Number 1, dogs suck ass. Number 2, you are forgetting Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon from WrestleMania 37.
Hang on, Mark.
But yes, that's fair. But it is not known for its cage matches, WrestleMania. Owens and Solo is interesting because Kevin Owens has sort of just been forced to tolerate the bloodline. Like, he's had as many shots as anyone can get away with against Roman Reigns and lost. But Solo Sikoa does need like sort of being kept busy over WrestleMania weekend, even if he's there running interference for Roman against Cody yet again, and you know, you've certainly got the pitch for how to fix that.
We are doing a Royal Rumble review on our YouTube channel, What Culture Wrestling Podcast, later on today. I will reveal all on there, or if you can't join us for that, it'll be out as a podcast later on today as well. What Culture Wrestling Podcast, wherever you get your podcast from.
Yeah. But I could see Owens and Solo doing something down the line. A WrestleMania match, I'm not sure. I can't figure out Kevin Owens' WrestleMania yet. So I'll take that, Mark, as good as anything, because I just can't visualise yet. I feel like WWE will show us in the next couple of weeks what he's going to have.
You know what we should do? We should do a video saying what everyone should do at WrestleMania 40. That's just my idea that you can have for free, mate.
I like the sound of that idea and might help.
He's already writing it.
And might help
contribute
to you on that idea. Yeah,
it's his great idea. We're going to do it. We're going to do it in the next few days, don't you worry.
It's going to be rampant speculation.
Yeah.
A bunch of wrestlers and nobody knows, and we're going to try and decide their careers.
Cody's going to finish the story.
Yes, he is.
Let it play out, guys. Hey.
I have some thoughts on that.
Right, final question today comes from David John, who says, Happy Road to Mania Monday, legends. Thank you, David. With Cody clearly choosing Roman at Mania, do we get Cody doing his side of the build from Raw, or do we get him trading to SmackDown? Maybe work something to get Jimmy to Raw to start the Uso feud. Gonna be an awesome road. Yes, can't wait.
It doesn't make a difference, right? Because Roman never shows up to work.
Yeah. That's him till March.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I like the idea of Cody and the Bloodline. It's probably easier to say the Bloodline rather than Roman because, you know, he works these selected days, being kept separate. I'll tell you what I quite like. I like Cody having to do his legwork on Raw, and you find some sort of distraction program for him.
He needs a sort of interim feud now for the Chamber, doesn't he, really?
And I want to see the Bloodline continue to push their luck with the SmackDown general manager. Can't remember his name. Because that is bubbling under quite nicely.
Yes.
And Cody needs protection from yet more cheating at WrestleMania, and he needs, at long last, an authority figure to put the thumb on the head of the Bloodline and say enough. Like, it cannot, like, we literally had a finish that played out like every other one on Saturday's Royal Rumble. Like, and Cody suffered that last year. This can't happen anymore. And it seems to me that SmackDown GM has spotted this. And I love the idea of all the people to help Cody lift that world title. I'm just going to name him because it's a podcast, but Nick Aldis being the one to sort of like cradle Cody into greatness with all their own like world title lore dating back to all in. There's something quite sweet about that. I really like the Aldis Bloodline chemistry on SmackDown. I almost think you tell that story while Cody is kind of busy with something on Raw, as if to have Aldis say, I'm making things right over here, you keep your side of the deal.
He's free now, so why not put his Mania shot on the line against Dominic Mysterio? I know they've worked together like 4 months ago, but...
Law and LTST and the threat of Dominic.
The panic on that 2 count of, oh God, Dom's going to the main event of WrestleMania.
Dom's like, I never finished a story in my life because I just read the end page of the book and throw it away.
In fact, then I rip it out and put it back in the library and people will never know the ending. I'm a wanker, me.
I'm not going to go.
Anyway, thank you for all your questions. Let us know what you'd see Cody doing on the road to WrestleMania in the comments section below. And why not check out this video as well. Thanks.